Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening or good morning, wherever you may find yourself. I am Simone L. Bowe, a leadership and HR strategist, and very excited about this session and really all of May. May is considered Mental Health Awareness Month. And so all month long, we are going to have lots of free resources for you to really elevate your mental health. I'm excited that this is a topic that people are normalizing, that people are talking about, that people are most importantly practicing in their lives and in the workplace and all the other organizations that we find ourselves. Because as the young folks say, life is lifing. And we need ways to deal with life. Life is a lot.
Yeah.
Work is a lot. We have family, we have everything that's going on. And we have to find ways to not only deal with it and not only to survive, but to thrive, because that's what we were meant to do as divine beings. We are created by God to live abundantly
Yeah.
and to prosper, right? Even as our souls prosper, that our bodies are in good health, our minds are in good health. We don't have the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. So listen, there's nothing new under the sun. Even God is mindful of our mental and physical health. That
Yes.
means this has to be something that's very important. And so to kick us off this month, we have someone who is very, very special to me. I will call her a soul sister. And
Yes.
she is a sister of the soil here in the Bahamas, living abroad and doing wonderful things in the space of wellness and personal improvement and enrichment and development and growth. And so I'm going to have her introduce herself to us. This is Dr. Lornika Joseph, and she is a pharmacist by trade. She is a speaker, and I want you to tell us about the last amazing opportunity that you just had as a
Yeah.
speaker. She is a coach, and she is an author. And I am looking forward to this latest release, and hopefully I can get you to come to Nassau so we can do an event around that book, because
Yes.
that is talking about all the things that I love talking about. So
Yes.
please feel free to introduce yourself to everyone and tell us about all of the new and exciting projects that you're working on.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Simone. So, goodness, as you mentioned, soul sisters, like the young people say, we go way, 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 way back.
Way,
I
way
mean,
back.
like Simone is and I'm a little bit biased. Simone, in my opinion, I believe not only has the fruit, but she literally is the HR expert. She's the HR queen. So this goes all the way back to SLS and even before,
Oh,
even to like Sage Eden with Sherelle, Carol. That's when we first met. And then life would so happen that God brought us back again. So SLS. So I definitely would say you are my soul sister. I am excited. I recently, literally just last week, came back from Yale. For those who don't know, it's an Ivy League school, and as Simone mentioned, from the Bahamas. And so, one of the things that I like to remind people, especially if you are led by the Spirit in your work, God is just amazing. And so, I was able to speak on the intersection of faith and the stigmas that women face, especially in corporate, as it relates to taking medications, prescribed medications for our mental health. And one of the things, Simone, that I think I tell people, I'm like, listen, it's interesting when we feel like we have the flu, or we feel like we have a sinus infection, or someone has pneumonia, or whatever it is, we'll run to the pharmacy to get our antibiotics, because who wants to be walking around with an infection for days and for months? But the moment, especially as it relates to women in the corporate space or even in ministry, the moment a woman says, hey, I'm either going through a divorce or I'm not feeling well, I haven't been able to sleep, I'm having panic attacks, so I'm just in a state of depression from my last job, we begin to ostracize women and we give women the side eye, and even men. We begin to give each other the side eye. But again, biblically speaking, and as you opened up so beautifully, Simone, let's not forget that Jesus had a physician on his team. So if he knew that rest was important, and then him being the greatest healer also had a physician on his team, who are we to think that we can just overlook and affirm ourselves out of things such like burnout? And so for me, these last going on 12 years, my mission is to literally help individuals to heal the soul. And we can't do it like all of the success is great. Of course, I'm a pharmacist by trade, but I have come to realize and recognize that I cannot do this life and I can't thrive without redefining my work. And redefining my work had to include what the journey was. And that was, if I don't stop hustling, if I don't stop trying to please people, if I don't make some changes, I am not going to do well and I'm not going to be a good coach, speaker, and pharmacist for my community. And so that's pretty much my story. My second book, Working Well, releases this summer. So I'm pretty excited about it. I was actually texting my editor. And so we are excited. And I am excited about this conversation and how we're going to just pretty much just dialogue about what it means to go beyond burnout. Because it's not just a tired, it's not just a vacation. Burnout is so much deeper, Simone.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, there have been quite a few times where, especially of late, where I'm feeling and asking myself the question, are you burned out? Because I
Mm,
have been on vacation for the last month and I can't tell you that I've fully rested or
wow.
felt rested. I'm still active and busy, of course, doing all of this,
Yes.
but mentally feeling like, am I settled? Am I at peace? And
Hmm.
I know that I'm not the only one, right? I mean, just
Yeah.
because of all of the things that we look to balance in our lives, right? And so
Yes.
this is really what this Mindful Moments Lunch and Learn is all about. We want to explore what that balance looks like between success and mental wellness, where we talk about, when success is burning you out, right? Like our pursuit to achieve. And, I am very passionate about societal traditions and expectations that
Hmm.
times don't make sense, right?
Yeah.
They tell us that we have to do these things. We have to have achievements. We have to be and do certain things by certain ages, and all of these things can add stress to our lives. So
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you, the first question is, what has your personal journey been in balancing success and mental wellness?
So going back to what you said, Simone, let me first say, like, don't let the background fool you with the walls of the wall of success and the wall of accomplishment. I'm always going to be a life learner. So from the Bahamas to my doctorate degrees and continuing to be a life learner. My journey, Simone, I was forced to make changes.
Wow.
I was forced to make changes. So after my mother passed away, and ironically, I say ironically because now I laugh about it, but my mother passed away on Mother's Day in 2003. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know if I told you that. So
no.
Mother's Day was something I could not deal with holidays. Me and my brother, particularly for me, it was hard because I'm like, God, of all the days I could understand now as an adult, because I was 17 at the time, for someone to, transition. But I'm like, really? On Mother's Day, you take my mother? So that's a whole nother conversation about anger,
Well,
disappointment. And so for me at that time, my family, there was what we call a generational pattern. And so for me, our generational pattern was there were so many different loved ones who were either sick, and they were not just ill, Simone, from things that they couldn't control. These were what we would call conditions and diseases that could have been prevented. Like there were smokers in my family, there were chronic alcoholics in my family, and alcoholism is a disease. But what was happening was while I was in grad school at FAMU at the time, there was death after death. So I was driving from Tallahassee to Miami, flying to Nassau, coming back, went to Freeport, all of the things. And I was doing this, and air quotes, I was pretending to be God, Simone. So I was
Yep.
pretending to be God. No one asked me to be God. No one asked me to be their savior. But eldest daughter syndrome, Black woman hear me roar in corporate America, corporate Bahamas syndrome. And so I took it upon myself whenever there was an issue. Call me anytime. Like Miss Cleo, call me now. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning. It could be lunchtime. Oh no, I can keep my phone just for you. And so what happened was one of my aunts passed away, and she was in Freeport at the time. And so what ended up happening, Simone, she passed. And again, I was in the middle of grad school. I think this was maybe my second year. And of course, going to the funeral, because especially in the Western culture, you not showing up for the death of a loved one, you not showing up to the funeral,
Uh,
yeah,
you
you
ready
gonna
to
be
get excommunicated from the family?
listen, what? You too busy to show up for you too busy to come. Listen, that was how things flowed through my family years ago. And so of course I went home, came back to the funeral, and on my way back up, Simone, I think I had probably was already in Gainesville. So I had about maybe 3 hours left. And while driving through Gainesville, I started to feel this sharp pain in my left shoulder. So, of course, pharmacist, intern, let me self-medicate. And I just stopped praying. I keep pushing through. But it got so bad, Simone, that the pain in my left shoulder started moving to my chest.
What?
So I'm like, okay, God, you're gonna have to help me because I don't know what this is. I stopped, I pulled over, took a nap. But again, we talking about pushing through stuff and hustling and not pausing because 2 days later I had an exam. So I couldn't stay in Miami. I couldn't stay home in Nassau. I had things to do. And so fast forward, I end up back to my apartment. Simone, I took some leave, went to sleep, dared not tell you the very thing that I was overlooking is what woke me up in the middle of my sleep. And so I end up to campus the next morning for this big exam, 4 credit hour exam. This could make or break my journey, whether I was going to get and transition into the following year. So I get to campus, Simone. I start sweating. I'm studying with my cheat sheet notes or whatever, and I start feeling this pain again. And everyone's looking at me because I'm grimacing in the face. And so they called me Bishop, right? Because I was my class chaplain at the time. And so they're like, Bishop, you good? Oh, okay. So they're like, Bishop, you good? And I was like, I don't feel good. Next thing I know, I am literally like, I am trying to breathe. I holding on to my shirt. I'm crying. And then one of my classmates, I saw literally was like, okay, we got to get her to the hospital. He rushed up, got me in his car. Next thing I knew, I was waking up in the emergency room, Simone. And
Sure.
that's when the physician told me, the ER physician told me, he said, Miss Joseph, I don't know what you're doing. Your classmate told me you guys are in pharmacy school, but I need to tell you that you had a stress-induced anxiety attack.
Wow.
And he literally said to me, and this is what literally caused me to change, Simone. He said, I don't know what you're doing, Miss Joseph. I'm not telling you to drop out of school. I'm not telling you to change what you're doing. But he said, if you don't make changes, you are going to go to your grave early.
Woo. That's a wake-up call.
And this man don't know me. I don't know him from the man of moon, but that's literally what it was. And when he said that, it was as if God was literally saying to me, if you don't change, if you don't stop trying to save everyone, be everywhere, do everything, if you do not practice boundaries, you are going to go to an early grave just like your mother, even though she died from a chronic disease. But I watched all of these women and a few men die under 45. My grandmothers were the only ones that died over 60 and 70 years old. But it's like if you don't make changes, you are going to be not only self-medicating yourself, but baby girl, you ain't going to be here long. And that was my wake-up call, Simone.
Good Lord. And that becomes the turning point where you recognize, is all of this worth it?
Yep.
Right. And of
Mhm.
course, when we are purposeful and purpose filled, we will always be driven. But I
Yes.
think we have to change how we pursue, and we have to prioritize. You said it early on in your comments that even Jesus
Yeah.
made time for different elements of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He made time for rest. He made time for prayer. He made time for what we would call in this time big ministry, right? Where he ministered to thousands of people. He made
Yes.
time for mentorship and training with the
Yes.
12 disciples. And he
Mm-hmm.
made time for even intimate relationships and encounters. So
Yeah.
where you talked about, being available to people, right? He was available on those one-on-one encounters that he had with people,
Yes.
or with the two or three, or going to someone's home, right? I mean, he was always available, but he made time for the other things to kind of balance it out. So how
Right.
do we know when we're getting to the point of burnout and we're not just tired, as you said before, like I'm busy, I'm doing all of these things,
Yeah.
trying to be there for everyone. Listen, I felt that in my whole soul. Shane Thompson is saying, he said, oh, wow, same thing that was just told to me, same situation, stress induced. I can say my doctor just put me on pressure meds, kicking and screaming because I'm like, I'm not going on pressure meds because I know why. I just need to deal with. And she was like, do you want to live? Okay, well,
Mm.
if you put it that way, I'll take you
Yeah.
for the tablet stock. I'll take it. Okay. But we all come to this point where we
Yeah.
have to recognize, okay, is it too much? So
Yeah.
what does too much look like? What are some of the common triggers of burnout that you see in
Mhm.
successful, progressive, high-performing people?
So one of the things, Simone, I must share with everyone is burnout originally, it doesn't start off as burnout. As I mentioned, for me, you couldn't tell me I was stressed because here it is. I'm at the peak of grad school, whatever, doing well. Me having stress induced anxiety attack, it didn't feel like that in the moment. But I feel like burnout, the symptoms of them, and it can sometimes be crossed between depression. And so, one of the things as a pharmacist, a medical professional, and also having worked on a psych ward for my internship for about 3 to 4 months, burnout doesn't immediately look like burnout. It starts off with someone making a comment, Simone, and you irritable and now you're angry. It looks like your spouse or someone at work saying good morning, and for the past couple of days, you're rolling your eyes. And they just greeted you. Burnout is you took on some opportunities, you took on another project at work. Now you don't have, I know we're gonna go there, but this is real and raw relevant conversation. But this looks like Simone not having time for your spouse. Intimacy is a problem. You're not your normal activities. For example, you normally would go walking, or when someone is depressed, activities such as I don't feel like getting up this morning. And it's not just one day, it's for a few consecutive weeks that you are overlooking the fact that you have no interest. You don't want to be bothered. You've been invited by your friends and colleagues to go hang out, and you're like, I don't feel like being bothered. Those are early signs of burnout. Now, this is not to say that you don't need to socialize or go out, but if you are an extrovert and you normally are the one saying yes to everyone, but now someone got to drive by and figure out, well, wait a minute, Simone ain't been to church. Simone ain't been singing. Wait, let me roll up on Simone because something's going on. And then what you would find out with people who are burned out, they don't say they're burned out. You go on vacation, and as you mentioned earlier, Simone, you are so tired, you need another vacation. Because instead of you resting and putting your phone on DND, you've been answering phone calls and you're like, oh God, here go another message. Here go another email. Those are some of the classical symptoms of someone who is dealing with burnout, and a vacation is not going to remedy that person or that individual symptoms.
Wow, wow, wow. Lord, mashing all my coins today. So how do we tie this into the toxic pressures that we experience from society? I talked about these societal beliefs and expectations that can turn toxic, right? It is not, it's now beyond healthy ambition to say
Yeah.
that, I want to do this, I want to achieve this in my life because this is something that I want to do. It's something that I'm passionate about. How do
Yes.
we begin to now identify some of these toxic behaviors, right? Like pushing ourselves to the edge or over the edge. Perfectionism is a huge deal. Like it
Yeah.
has to be right. If it's not right, and we're feeling like this internal pressure to perform and to perform well. And sometimes the environments that we're in lead
Mm-hmm.
to that, right? Like
Yes.
there's no room for error because
Yes.
of how you see leadership or other people handle when you're not perfect, right?
Yes.
Like, so I want to get ahead. Maybe I want to get a promotion. I want to maybe
Mm-hmm.
elevate from where I am, but I have to be perfect to get it done. Or then feeling like, okay, I'm here, I've been elevated, but now imposter syndrome is kicking in because I'm tired.
Fine.
I'm not interested. So maybe I'm not capable, or I have to work so hard to keep my space here. And I know that
Yeah.
I'm talking about a whole lot of things, but how do we how do those things contribute to burnout and creating now unhealthy ambition?
So let me first say this, Simone. I am a true believer in what is on the head of an organization, what is on the head of a home is going to flow through the rest and to the rest of the body. So, for the married couples, for those of us who are in corporate, for those who are in business, if you are not right, it's only a matter of time before everyone around you subconsciously will start underperforming. And again, it's going back to, and I mentioned this when I was at Yale last week, to the different therapists and the PhDs and all of the individuals in the room. First of all, perfectionism is rooted in rejection. I know we
Woo!
didn't have time for that, but
Man, you gotta unpack that a little bit now. You can't
let's
just run up on that and run away.
perfectionism, Simone, is rooted in rejection. Let's break this down. If I had a whiteboard, we would whiteboard this, but I'm going to explain it as simple as I could explain it. When we think about you wanting something to be done perfectly, like all, now again, being operating in perfectionism is not excellence. God requires excellence of us in everything that we do. But perfectionism says, I can only do it. And if I don't do it the way that I expected, there goes that control. There goes that anxiety. There goes that self-induced panic attacks. If Simone don't do it like me, I don't want her to do it. So now you take it on because you are trying to control the outcome. And that's literally one of the things that literally God has been talking to me about when it comes to anxiety. Yes, there are things that we cannot control, but if we really think about the anxiety that we create
Mm,
ourselves, it is you and I, it is high performing individuals, it is leaders, it is toxicity in the culture that says if you don't do it this way, I am going to literally like not promote you. If you don't do it this way, you can't get a promotion. If you don't do it this way, I want you out of my house. If you don't look this way, you can't be a part of our organization. Let's call a spade a spade. Because that's what perfectionism is. It is rejection. And rejection, as I unpack in my book, it's not just someone telling you no. It is wanting to control the outcome. And that is connected to the broken identity that we have. I'm pointing fingers on the wall as high performing individuals. We have all the certifications. Baby, you go on your LinkedIn, you have everything. Your CV so extensive, you don't even have all the space. But let's be real. When we are overdoing it and overperforming, it's because we're operating from a level of unresolved trauma. Well, let me get another degree. Let me do this. Let me stay till 7 o'clock, even though I done been here till from 7,
man.
knowing I ain't getting paid, knowing my boss don't like me, knowing I don't like this job. But if I don't speak up, because what we're doing is our identity is attached to what we do. And so when you are not performing well, when you are not getting the accolades, when no one is giving you a pat on the back, well, okay, this me. Okay, what else could I do? Okay, let me take on 5 more projects, even though my children are sick. Let me take on another project at church. Let me take on another project at work. Performing, performing, performing again, which is connected to perfectionism. And again, perfectionism, Simone, is rooted in rejection. So if you are not seeing a therapist, if you are not seeing a coach, if you are not investing in things beyond a Sunday church service, Houston, we have a problem because it's going to show up in your work.
Woo! You got us blowing up. Patricia say you talking all her business, and Shane say you can make him explode because you just hitting it on all pistons today. Lornika, this is how we live in though.
But this is how we live in, and life is lifing in the midst of that, Simone.
Yes.
Life is lifing in the midst of all of this, and that's why I think intentional pauses, and I commend you, Simone, going back to you being placed on hypertension medication. And listen, sometimes it's not always the lifestyle, it's literally 1 or 2 tweaks.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. And I want us to literally, as we ask self-reflective questions as we are engaging, I want you to start to ask yourself, do I really need to get another promotion? Like, I know we need money, but you staying late at work to make more money, is it going to cost you your marriage? Is it going to cost you, for all of the millennials on here, is it going to cost you time with your children? Is it going to take you away from your faith journey? Because again, well, child, if I don't get this promotion, you know what they can say? Well, she ain't performing. Well, Simone ain't performing. Marsha ain't performing. Well, Shane, well, listen, again, we have to stop internalizing the perception of people and begin to ask ourselves, God, is this what you have for me? I am 40, I am 50, I've been on this job for 12 years. Do you want me to take on another opportunity, or am I okay with it? Because again, when you start performing and you start doing stuff to get an applause for people, listen, I tell my clients, listen, people fickle. I fickle myself. So when you create a life where you are constantly doing things for people to applaud you, you are going to be so exhausted. You're going to end up with a hospital bill just like me. That bill that I
Right.
was talking about, Simone, that I got in grad school, that was $7,600 for 1 hour in the ER. Grad school
What?
student. Now, I know God called me to be a pharmacist, but that was a bill that I wasn't expecting. And we don't think about that when we pushing through burnout and we saying yes to everybody. We don't realize it comes with a cost, and that cost is expensive. That bill could be expensive. Is it costing you your soul?
Hmm.
What does it profit? Andrea, what does it profit? Simone, what does it profit? Patricia, what does it profit? Crystal, to gain the whole world, gain all these accolades, gain all this attention, and lose your soul in the process?
Or your quality of life and the
Or your,
quality of relationships,
yes.
you
Don't
know?
know the last time you took a real vacation. Like, when is the last time you actually went on vacation and didn't shop? Like, you just laid in bed and you woke up and you was like, well, Father God, what day it is? I've been asleep all day. And again, this is what I've been talking about in corporate spaces, because it's not just sleep, Simone. It's not just the getting sleep. It's the quality of sleep.
Quality of sleep, a deep sleep, an
A deep,
unplugged sleep.
like deep
Listen,
sleep.
Crystal, you and me both. I need, then she was saying that. I was like, I need 1 or 2 of those days. Vacation ready.
Yes, like you have no plans. Like, you wake up, you still in your pajamas. Like, Simone, we live in a society, and I was telling someone this just the other day, and I'm so grateful to God, but I'm like, I am so grateful when I get up, I could literally hear the birds outside. I could
Yes.
literally make some tea and look out my window and literally look at the sun and look outside of the trees. Many
Yes.
of us, we have been on a hustle journey, Simone, that we don't even know what it feels like to actually not be on this continuum of, child, I got to get up, I got to do this, run here, run there, run there. No,
That's right.
When are we going to prioritize, in addition to success, our mental well-being? One of my favorite sentences throughout this pandemic, Simone, is give me 24 hours to get back to you. So when I get
Hey,
a text, listen, just because, and I talk about this in my book, just because you have the ability to do something, Simone, it doesn't mean that you have the capacity.
come on now.
Let me say that again.
Let's talk about that.
Let me
Ability
say that
versus
again and say that
capacity.
slow.
I
Just
love it.
because I have the capacity, just because Patricia could do all these things, she's a great administrator, she's a mother, she's doing all these things. Just because I am gifted in this area, just because I have the ability, it doesn't mean I have the capacity. So when someone comes to me, whether it's a business opportunity, whether it's a family or friend or my boss, give me 24 hours, let me sleep on this. And if that isn't something that's resonated in my spirit, I'm so sorry, Simone. I'm going to have to decline this opportunity.
And guess what? For all the people pleasers on the call and who will listen to this recording afterward, our first tendency is to say yes.
Yep.
And it's all tied up in what you talked about with the rejection, with the desire to belong, to be connected, to be accepted, to be validated,
Mhm.
right? So our first go to is yes. But that is such a good pause to say, let me get back to you. And
Yeah.
that's something that you have to practice and build that muscle if you are accustomed to saying yes to everything. And that
Yeah.
leads me to my next question that I want you to talk about
Okay.
is now how do we create these boundaries? That's a great boundary that you
Mhm.
shared just now. So let's talk about some more that we can put in place to protect our capacity because capacity means I'm full.
Listen,
I'm up to here.
I can't put no more water in here. This thing filled to the rim, which means if I try to put more water in here, it's going to spill over. And that's what happens. It spill over with depression. It spill over with irritability. It spill over with anger. Child, someone say something to you. You go to lunch, you go to Wendy's, you go get something to eat. Any little thing just irritates you.
Pop it
And
off.
so one of the things, Simone, that I want to address is what I'm finding, especially in the high functioning B2B space, corporate, for those of us who've been in our careers for like at least more than 10 years. What I am finding, not the Gen Zers, because listen, that's a whole nother conversation because Gen Zers, Simone, and I'm sure you know about this as a mentor. If they feel like their mental health is being challenged, baby, they quitting the job. They ain't even answering your call, okay? Them babies, they say, oh no, you doing too much for me. You yelling at me, you demanding of my time. Baby, them babies, these Gen Zers, they are different. But
Yes.
I say that to say what I'm finding is that for high functioning individuals like ourselves, such as ourselves, it's not that we don't have boundaries, Simone. What I am finding is that we don't have a system in place for when the boundaries are not honored. That's the issue. It's not that we don't have boundaries. It's what happens when I say, for example, let's just say you have an adult child. You told them stop coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can't sleep when you wake up. Stop drinking, stop doing all these things. You have these boundaries, or we have these boundaries, but what happens, Simone? There is no consequence for the boundaries. So you have a boss that is toxic. This boss is texting you in the middle of the night. It ain't even the next working day. You told them, listen, so and so, Mr. So and so, I don't like the way you've been speaking to me. But you know what happens, Simone? There is no consequence. We keep letting it happen and happen. And so, what I would suggest for those of us who have boundaries is first recognize you need a boundary. Christ Himself, He went under that boat. He said, listen, I've been walking from city to city, country to country, healing people. Okay. I need y'all to give me a break. So, homeboy Judas, homeboy Peter, y'all figure it out. I don't teach y'all how to handle things. Let me go take a nap and let me raise my hand. My friends and everybody know my family, baby, I love a 30, 40-minute power nap. And when I wake up, I feel like I could take on the world because I know my body. I don't drink coffee. No shame or no shade to anyone. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink energy drinks. So I am in tune with my body and I am in tune with my spirit to know when it's time for me to take a nap. But I would say boundaries could look like, Simone, I love you and I appreciate you, but I don't like the way that you speak to me. I don't like that voice note that you sent to me last week.
Mhm.
The way you responded in that email, Marcia, I know we cool and we go way back, but I would appreciate it if you have a different approach when you are communicating with me. I know that I have been helping you and you always come to me to help you, but I would appreciate if you ask another coworker or if you ask another employee to take on this project because right now my cup is full. My cup is full. Another boundary, family and friends. I know this is a hot topic. We don't like disappointing the parents. We don't like disappointing the friends. They got an event, birthday party, birthday dinner. They waiting for you to RSVP. No offense. I love you, but I am so tired. I can't attend another event. And here's the thing that I tell my client, Simone. If these individuals in our sacred circle, if they truly love us, they wouldn't get offended. Now, if you're getting offended because I tell you I'm tired, I just flew from New York and I can't make your dinner, then I need to really understand what kind of friendship we have here because you want me to drive exhausted. You want me to come to another church event. You want me to take on another project when I just told you I am tired. I just told you I have a sinus infection. I just told you my husband say if I take on another event, he gonna walk out and leave me and you getting offended? Baby, we need to evaluate our friendship.
Let's deal with that whole guilt tripping thing because people love to throw the guilt trip. Well, you supposed to be, right? Dot, dot,
Yep.
dot. You
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be my friend. You supposed to be a Christian. You supposed to be a leader. You supposed to be whatever they think you are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they start guilt tripping you for having a boundary and
Yes.
protecting your mental health, your physical well-being,
Mm-hmm.
your emotional wellness, whatever it is that you're protecting. You're
Yes.
protecting yourself,
Yes.
right? Let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about dealing with the guilt that comes.
So,
Right?
good question, Simone. And let me say this to everyone, this is a safe space. If you grew up like me and probably Simone, and you didn't have boundaries because you didn't understand what a boundary was, and you now have people who are guilting you, it is okay that 5 years ago, listen, I don't care if I didn't have boundaries 5 years ago. I got it today. I have it
Okay.
today. So the old Lornika, yep, you're right. I listen, I was sending money. I was whatever you could come. I will drive. I will fly. You're right. I did not have boundaries 5 years ago, but I am a new creation. I am a new creature. I have a new mindset. And turning 40, I said, oh no, I can't do it. So I have a boundary. And if you are upset that I have a boundary, I am so sorry, but I can't accommodate your emotions. The fact that you upset that I have a boundary. So with people who guilt trip you, especially the family and the friends, oh, I thought, child, these children, you spent all your life for them. And now look, now she thinks she high and mighty. She too busy for me. I can't call her. I sent her a text 2 days ago. Been
Come
there, done that.
through.
Been there, done that. Even just literally, and talking about the healing process, Simone, I even had to walk both of my fathers, my stepdad and my biological father, through this because, again, we love them. But it was like I had to speak up. You can't manipulate me. I am not at your beck and call. I am an adult. I am not a 5-year-old child. So if you are going to speak to me and if you want me to do something, could you be nice and ask me? And let's say this. I know I can get a lot of flack for this. Even our parents, I do not owe you my life.
That's right.
I do not owe you my life. Especially if we have parents and we are managing different situations. But when it comes to the guilt, do not accept people's guilt. That is their guilt. That is their emotion. That is their emergency. And I just told someone this, one of my mentees the other day, who's a stay-at-home mom. And I said to her, I said, listen, everyone's emergency cannot be your emergency in the moment. Because someone mismanaging their money, because someone is mismanaging their schedule. Now they want you drop everything. They
Everything.
want you to send them money. They want you to get in the car. They want you to make the phone call to get their daughter a job. No, 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 no. I won't accept it. I can't. I love you. I know you so and so, you bishop so and we've been together. We've been working on the same job for 5 years. But listen, I need you to stop doing this. I'm not telling you what to do, but the way you call me and you make your emergency my emergency, those days are over. I am so sorry. I'm going to pray that you find relief. And going back to what you said, Simone, I am not a mean Christian. As a matter of fact, Simone, I at the age, I don't even care if you think I'm a mean Christian because I am not God. If you calling me mean, because I am holding your feet to the fire. If you calling me a mean Christian woman, if you calling me a mean Christian mentor or coach, because I am making you accountable and responsible for your life,
Ah, that's it.
that's okay, you
That's
know.
it.
That's okay because let's call a spade a spade. Let's get to the root of what the issue is. It's not that I'm mean, I'm not aiding and abetting in your foolishness anymore.
Enabling your inability to manage your life.
That's what it is. That's why you're calling me mean. That's why even in women's empowerment, we call other women mean. No, I ain't mean. I have boundaries. No, I ain't mean. You need to take control of your finances. Okay, great.
That's
I
right.
lent you $300 the other day. I helped you out. I covered this, covered that. But the next 2, 3 months, the same thing keeps happening. It ain't me. We got to cut this off.
Mm-hmm.
Those are boundaries. And again, if people are only in your life for what you can help and do for them, you need to question your access and you need to change your access to these people.
Listen, can we, what? That is it right there. And I have had to do that in my life because I recognized it. I recognized it immediately when,
Mm,
you can only hear from people when they want something. But when you need something, then their boundaries kicking in
yep.
because they have no issue with telling you no, no issue with saying, I'm not interested in that. Or
Yeah.
no, I can't help you with that. So why are you getting mad at me? Because I am doing the same thing for myself.
Well, at
No, and I
least
had
you
to
know, at least you
recognize,
getting a
no,
at least you getting a response. What happens when, oh, I didn't see the message 3 days ago.
ghosting.
I didn't something been happening with my WhatsApp, my text message, my phone been acting. Wait a minute, your phone acting up now that I need you?
Boy, this is, that's Minister Stephanie said, an eye-opening session today. This is eye-opening, right? And for some
Yeah.
of us, it's just confirming and affirming what
Mm-hmm.
we've been feeling and experiencing. And now we're saying, you know what you've been doing is par for the course. It's good. As yeah, Patricia's just saying, it's good to know that I am not alone. You are not alone.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
not alone. We're Many of us are experiencing these things, and it's really in building your resilience as a person and
Mhm.
knowing yourself. I find that to be very important. You have to know yourself. You have
Yeah.
to know what is important to you, what your deal breakers are, what is it that I'm going to tolerate and what I'm
Mhm.
not going to tolerate, and what is my capacity, right? All of this is self-awareness,
Yes.
right?
And can
And
I say
then,
something, Simone?
yeah,
With as it relates to as we're talking about burnout, and I've been sensing and having this conversation a lot more with the different workshops and corporate engagements that I've been having. Grief is something we don't talk about a lot when it relates to as it relates to burnout.
yeah,
One of the
oh,
things that I bring out under the message of working well, we think that grief is someone dying and brought this
nope,
up at Yale.
mm-mm,
Sometimes grief shows up through burnout because I was supposed to have gotten a promotion. Someone just come on the job, been working here 5 years, I've been 15 years here, and they overlooked me.
yeah, it's a loss.
It's a
And we have
lot.
to recognize that losses come in different ways.
Yep. And it
You can
manifests in your
grieve
body.
even in positive. So let's flip that example, right?
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
could get the promotion and still grieve,
Yes.
because now you are transitioning from, hello, so
Mm-hmm.
there something has to come to an end for you to elevate.
Yes.
So what may end may be the relationships that you would have had perhaps with colleagues and those persons maybe who did not get promoted. So
Mm-hmm.
your relationship dynamic may change with them, and that's a loss. You may
Yeah.
have to move office. So you're moving away from what you've been comfortable in, what you've been accustomed to. You may have to move
Yeah.
to maybe another building, another side of the building. That's a loss.
It is.
Even getting a new home, you
Getting
would
a new
grieve
home. Yes. Yes.
that whole apartment as bad as you wanted to leave it. Right? But we don't understand how grief shows up in so many different ways. And
Yes.
we're actually doing a webinar next week talking about career growth and transitions. And we're going to talk about this a little bit, how career growth and transitions impact our mental health. Like, so moving
Yeah.
on, leaving a job that maybe you wanted to leave, you're still going to grieve that,
Yep.
you
Because it's
know?
the old you. It's the tension of who I used to be and
Yeah.
who I know I want to become. It's that tension. It's that
Mm-hmm.
familiarity. It's, well, that friends and the people who I used to support. And I told someone this the other day.
Yep.
I used to be upset, Simone, when quote unquote, and I have to use air quotes, when one or two friends that our lifestyles were not aligned anymore. And again, going back to rejection as high performing individuals, we question, well, what did I do? Well, what I say? Well, I could have said something different. Sometimes our lifestyles are just no longer in alignment, and we
That's
have
right.
to become okay with that. And so, to mitigate or remedy the burnout, as we are talking about, Simone, is embracing that through therapy, coaching, crying. Listen, my daddy used to laugh at me, but now I find it funny that now he's a cry. He's like, my baby, I said, listen, crying is detoxing for me.
Mm-hmm. It
Moving
is.
from home to Florida, and I done moved one or two times, moving away from the place of familiarity. I had to shed some tears, Simone, because I was
Yes.
like, I miss this and I miss that and I miss these group of people, but
Yes.
there's no more alignment. So let it release it.
I have to go. What becomes now more important? Because I can stay in comfort, and guess what? I will continue to suffer because I'm not in alignment. And so
Yes,
we have to go with the flow, but we have to embrace every emotion that we feel. And I
yes.
think so often in our societies, our feelings are invalidated, right? So they
Mm,
would say to you, man, what you crying for? You get an opportunity to work in Florida. What's wrong with you?
toxic,
Right?
toxic.
Oh, you got a promotion. What happened to you? You all the money you could be making. You got a new office. You got a car. What's wrong with you? Right?
Yeah.
And so when we're made to feel like having these emotions are wrong,
Hmm.
and it's not wrong.
Right.
So as we wrap up today, let's talk about support systems, right?
Ah,
Let's talk about who we can have as a part of our support systems to help us journey through, when we are experiencing burnout or experiencing high stress in our pursuit of excellence, you know,
mhm.
who can best support us? We have family, we have friends, we have coaches, we have mentors, we have therapists. Let's talk about what support looks like. And I see that my other soul sister from Nigeria has her hand up. So once Lornika responds to this question, we'll come to you.
Okay. So the first thing that I want to say, Simone, is we going back to school. We going back to basics. I know we got systems, we got notes, we got Google Docs, all of the things. This is how I walk my clients through who is going to be your accountability partner outside of your therapist and your coach. Write down, let me take this out. Pull out a sheet of paper. Pull out a sheet of paper, your journal, whatever you have, and write down all of the people that are currently in your life, whether they are a colleague, a peer, a friend, whoever it is that's in your quote unquote, what I refer to as your sacred circle. Write down their names And I want you to first, before you start going to reach out to someone for support, I want you to evaluate the season that you've had with them, with these individuals that you whose names you're going to write down. So before Marsha reach out to somebody, ask yourself, write Simone name down. Does some First of all, where's our relationship?
Mhm.
Because if Marsha ain't talked to Simone in 5 years and you just now come in, oh, Simone making a bunch of money. Let me see if she could help me with my money mindset. But you ain't talked to Simone in 5 years. So that's going to be a little uncomfortable for you to approach someone to hold you accountable when the relationship is strained. So, and
Mhm.
also the second thing, as we've been talking about, does this person have the capacity? I have a handful of good friends and we stay in connection with each other. We don't talk every day, we don't talk every week, but I know we are so connected. We have koinonia with each other, we have communion with each other. I know where all of my friends are located, I know what their capacities are. But here's the thing, when you are identifying an individual as a support, do they have the capacity and is there fruit in their life that they could hold you accountable? So let's just say one of your goals, as you mentioned, Simone, let's just say, I'll use one of my clients. Her goal, she is going through the process, family planning. She was placed on hypertension medication in her 30s. And so she's like, she calls me coach. She said, Coach, man, I don't like these pills. I need to get off. So I said, okay, if that's what your mindset is, I said, what are we going to do to get off of these blood pressure medications? And I said, whoever, in addition to me as your coach, whoever is going to hold you accountable, do they understand the value of health? Because Simone, you could have somebody who could hold you accountable to manage your weight and get off your blood pressure medications. But if this person has a case or whatever will be, man, listen, if the doctor puts you on the pills, take the pills. It don't matter, you making more money. So if there is a value misalignment, that is not your accountability partner. That person cannot be in your favorite fives because they don't value what you are valuing. If somebody doesn't understand me, for example, my value is quality sleep, preparing to have a family of my own, my mental well-being, transitioning from corporate into full-time with what I do. If someone doesn't value that, that is not my partner. So my friend need that, my accountability partner, which she is, would be an example like a Sherelle Carroll. We understand that what we are doing is in alignment. So I wanted to give that example of how you are going to choose your accountability partner or your support system once you leave this call or once you watch the replay. Does this person have the capacity? How is the relationship with this individual? And then lastly, ask them, do they have the ability and capacity to be your accountability partner in this season of your life? Because the capacity that I had 10 years ago, baby, I don't got that capacity. I either live through my calendar or I gonna be like, Simone, please give me 48 hours because I have a lot going on. I got a trip going to California, my daddy getting older, spending time with my sister, dating, friends, all of the things. I need you to tell me if you have the capacity to handle me and manage my expectation and vice versa. So again, it's not just can you support me, but how can I support you? It's the Mary type Elizabeth. It's the Paul and the Timothy. It's the mentee mentor type relationship, and it has to be aligned. And if there is no alignment after you done write them out on a sheet of paper or the notes in your phone, and you say, "Well, Simone, the person." Go to the next person on your list. Because again, what that also helps you to manage is the disappointment. Child, I reach out to
Yes.
Shane. I asked him to be my buddy partner. He hanging out with this person. He hanging out with that person, and he can't even hang out with me. It's not that he can't hang out with you. Shane told you he doesn't have the capacity. Let's respect when people say that they can't, they don't have the capacity for us. It's not something that you need to be offended by. Be okay and release people and just go to the next person. That's
That's
all
right.
that is as it relates to creating and redefining your support system.
And that really helps to release a lot of stress because I think when we are holding expectations to people, we can't control them,
Yeah.
and I think it's Mel, oh Lord, I follow her
The
all the
Mel
time. Mel Robbins
Robbins,
with
let them.
her newest release, the Let Them theory. She's like, you know what? Let them. whatever it is that other people wish to do with their lives, whatever, let
Yes.
them. And what it does is it frees you from this pressure of trying to maintain a relationship that's probably over,
Mm-hmm.
or trying to get some behavior from someone that they're not able to give you or support or whatever, right? So
Yes.
I love those points. I want to get to the question. So, Soul Sister from Nigeria, you feel free to unmute your mic and share your question
Okay,
or comment.
okay, good evening. Good evening, yeah. Good evening, Simone. Thank you for the invite. Dr. Lornika, that is a very, very powerful and insightful session. Good evening, everyone. I think I just want to make an observation, and I love the fact that you are linking this up to our spirituality because I see that we are all sisters here. One of the things I would like us to emphasize and to help people out is the fact that people can stay single and be fulfilled. I'm going to speak from my Nigerian angle. I think I see someone bearing a Nigerian name. I don't know. Okay, yes, I've seen Blessing Adekunle. Okay, thank you. In Nigeria, I think also in some parts of West and Africa generally, we take religious places of worship very seriously. And these are one of some of the things that drain people. I am not saying all religious places. I am saying those ones that are very, how would I put it? Those ones that exploit people. We know what I'm talking about, those fake places. And sometimes I see, I have a lot of cases I attend to for ladies, for females who are single. Sometimes they build the walls around them. All the commitment comes from them, blah, blah, blah. And they are going to prophesy in the next 3 months, you're going to get somebody who's coming to marry, they're giving them a picture of Prince Charming. So I think it's good for us as Christians to also to always lend a voice that people can stay single and still be fulfilled. We don't talk about that. We always talk about marriage, marriage, marriage. And unfortunately, it's not everyone, because in Nigeria, for instance, if you marry in some culture and you don't have children, you can't stay in that marriage because we want children. So I'm trying to talk about the fact of the single people who are single parents, single individuals, they go through a lot of burnout because of the demands they get from some, circles they belong to. Anyway, I don't know if you understand the point I'm trying to make, that we should always let people realize whether you're married, whether you're single, you can serve the Lord and be fulfilled. Thank you all.
Yes. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I
Simone.
think
Over.
that's a very powerful point because there's so much pressure there too to perform,
Mhm.
and to be satisfied in whatever state you are in, to be content, I think is
Yes.
important.
Yes.
It's so important.
Yes.
And we have a saying here in the Bahamas that loose goat don't know how Thai goat feel.
Come on.
Wow.
Loose goat don't know how Thai goat feels. So you are longing to be tied down, right? And married and whatnot. But when you are single, you have the benefit of, kind of running your life and your affairs, and you don't have to ask someone, honey, can I go to Yale University next week and speak? Is that okay with you?
Yes, yes. And then it also too, Simone, it also helps people to understand, like I told someone the other day, there are times where, like, for right now, I know for me, like going to the end of this year, literally I'm going to be traveling and speaking. But even for me as a single woman right now, not married, without, doesn't have any children, I don't care if it's a Saturday, if I on the couch watching Home Alone, watching reruns, or going home to Nassau for the weekend. That is my time. So for people to say, well, Simone ain't got no kids, or Simone don't, she got time. She could pick up another project. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I get to decide what I'm going to say yes to. So even like it's just not perpetuating because someone is married, that means they don't have the time. And if someone is single, they do have the time. Like, no, because there are like for me, I know for me and Dr. Miles Monroe, I miss him so much, always talked about this. Like, Eve met Adam working in the garden. So every season, we are all working and fulfilling our purpose. I'm not sitting here twiddling my fingers, waiting for some man to come find me. I'm fulfilling my purpose. So that doesn't mean that I have all this white space in my calendar. Oh, go ask Dr. Lornika, she free. She always free. No, sis is not always free. And I serve as a leader in ministry. And my father, like 90% of family live in the Bahamas. My sister is running a salon. Like, so I'm managing a lot. But again, we cannot get to the place where we start to watch people's schedule.
Yeah.
And then we
I get
make
that a lot.
demands.
Exactly. I get that a lot in both ways, right? But people will say, well, oh, you're too busy for a relationship, or you're too busy to be in my support system, right? Don't make those assumptions because I'm
Yep.
busy. I will make the time or the adjustments as I need to. And it's the same thing with assuming that I have all the time in the world. And Shane mentioned it earlier as well, that when you're young, right, that it's assumed that you have time, you have all the money to spend, you have the energy to give. And it's like, no,
No,
it's not that. It's
no,
not that at all.
yes.
So this, as everyone has been saying, this has been a very enlightening session. Everyone is so happy to have been a part. Dr. Lornika Joseph, I think you put your contacts in the chat because
Yes.
we definitely have to get you here in Nassau when this book drops at some point before 2025 is over. I am making that commitment.
Yes, yes.
Althea is saying, loved and needed this session. Great. Kristen is saying, wonderful session. Thank you all so much for coming. As I mentioned, this is kicking off with a bang our mental health awareness activities for the month. This is a commitment that my organization, Limitless Life, and my new organization, Thrive Well, Solutions. We got to talk about that, child. We have to talk. But this is the focus that we are pushing, not only with leadership development, but also in overall well-being, right? We want to push, but we want to do it well. We want to work well, right? We want to have the quality of life that will benefit us and the people that we love. So on Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern, I know that will be in the middle of the day for my friends in Nigeria, but we will be kicking off the week with prayer, just praying for persons that are struggling in the area of mental health, and praying for other things that impact us as people and even in our countries, as our countries are all dealing with things.
Yes.
We're having another mindful moment session on Monday. This one is going to be amazing. It is sponsored by the National Health Insurance Authority, NHI, we call it in the Bahamas. And we have Chandra Sawyer, who will be going through some mindfulness practices with us. I'm so excited about that. So it's kind of a good segue from talking about all the things that drive us to burnout and stress, but she's going to share with us some things. And listen, you have to be prepared to actually do some stuff. We're going to actually do some stretching and some breathing and all of those things that actually can help us, and things that we can practice even in the middle of our busy days. Next week is going to be a busy week as well. So we have on Wednesday evening in our Limitless Life leadership group on WhatsApp, we have some amazing professionals, and we are featuring 3 of our HR professionals out of our mentorship community. And we're going to be talking about career growth and transitions. And then on Thursday, we have a webinar. This is another heavy hitter. We got some real heavy hitters, but we have the Minister of Labor and Public Service, the Honorable Pia Glover-Roll. We have Mr. Robert Farquharson, who is the former Director of Labor, who is now the Executive Manager for Special Projects in the Ministry of Labor and Public Service. Dr. Thomas Smith, who is a local psychiatrist, and Dr. David Daniels, who is a safety expert and consultant and author, speaker out of Atlanta, Georgia. And we are going to be hitting this topic. Is my workplace safe? And we're not just talking about if we have the exit sign that's lit up on the door, or if that carpet is a trip hazard. We are talking about the psychological, psychosocial safety hazards that exist in today's workplace and what we can do about it. Minister Glover Roll is going to talk about, she has been pioneering legislative reform. So not just out here talking about what we need to do, but changing things at the legislative level and the policy level. And so I'm so excited for her to come, as well as Mr. Robert Farquharson, who will be talking about the changes that we'll be making to our labor law and that relate to health and safety at work and the overall employment experience. Y'all, this is going to be one for the books. So we're really excited about that. And then we will have another lunch and learn talking about mind and motion. Again, the personal fitness element to maintaining our mental health. And on the 24th of May, as they say in church, somebody say on the 24th of May, we are hosting an in-person self-care retreat for busy women of faith and purpose at the Oasis restaurant at the Crypto Isle location. And so we're happy to connect with you if you want more information about any of those. If you want the links to the live virtual free sessions, the one in-person session will come at a cost of just $100. So get your companies to pay for that. That's pocket change for so many organizations, but worth it to get 4 hours of, and listen, it's not going to be just people talking at you. We're going to have demos. We're going to have a few vendors. We will actually practice some things to help us be mindful and to settle and to help you, give you tools and strategies that you can employ. So thank you once again for joining me and Dr. Lornika Joseph, my soul sister. I have someone who I love and who I'm so proud of all of the things that she's doing as an individual and as a force to reckon with, not only in her career, but in her faith walk, which is so, so important. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being a part of this. And we look forward to seeing you to all of the other sessions. We have your email since you registered, and we'll be able to share with you the information on the upcoming sessions in the following weeks. Thank you again.
You, sister.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Best wishes. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much, sister.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.